welcome, as we're going to do a quick demonstration to look at this 2D measures funky floor plan project and what the main goals and the ideas are throughout it. So first of all, there's a rubric here on what you'll be measured on. The three main categories are the design, that you incorporate the right kinds of pieces of shapes on there, the calculations that you're going through and processing all the calculations for perimeters and area, and then the summary. And in your written summary, we need to have you answer some essential questions, which you'll see later in this document. So the first thing I'm going to do is take a look at this floor plan. I'm just going to jump in and start drawing on my floor plan. I click on this image and it allows me to click Edit. In the design, it was required that we have some diagonal edges and some curvy edges, as well as just vertical and horizontal. So I'm going to go ahead and look in my shapes, and I see lots of shapes with lots of different types of edges. I do not want to do these 3D looking shapes. This is a 2D design or two-dimensional design. But there's lots of options that I have here. So for example, let's say I start out with like this partial circle. It's called a pie on the drawings if I'm looking at it. Or I could even look at one of these. So how about this one here with one rounded corner? All right, so then I'm going to pull this shape to kind of fill a certain space, and you can click and drag on the yellow diamond to reshape that corner. Now what I did here is I created a shape, and I'll make it see-through so we can see a little bit more of what's going on, and we'll also make this thicker, and let's color that edge so maybe it stands out a little bit more. I have this red shape, and it's each of these boxes is 5 units, so this is 10 by 10, and I have a curved edge here. But if I were to think of this kind of as being split, I could split it kind of into 3 pieces like that. Let's see if I can do that one more time. There's one. Here we go. Let's try to connect those 2 things. Good. And we'll make it nice and thick. Again, color it red. And we'll do another line across. There we go. That's kind of what I was looking for, just to demonstrate how we can put some of these pieces together. I'm also going to add a diagonal edge, and let's just get a basic triangle here, like a right triangle. And I'm going to add that to this corner. So I have this funky looking house. We'll make it see-through and thick and colored red, just like the other one. All right, so we have lots of stuff going on here. We have lots of kind of like diagonal edges. We have a curvy edge. We have horizontal, vertical edges. We can cut this up into pieces. So here's what I notice. I notice that I have an area in here that's a box of 5 by 5. So I could say that this space is 25. And I see that that is repeated multiple times, that I have a 25 there, a 25 there, and a 25 there. This one is a quarter circle. So I'm going to look up my area of circle calculator. And the area of a circle calculator is asking me for the radius. And this radius happens to be one of these larger boxes, which is 5. So the radius is 5, which is 78.54. However, 78.54 should be divided by 4 because it's just a quarter circle. So there we go, we calculate that. So that space there is going to be 19.635. we'll just say 19.6 as an approximation. And so we have 19.6 for that area. I have more of these 25s because I have another one here. And if you were to put these two parts of the triangle together, that would also equal another 25. So I'm going to just change this whole triangle to 50 for the whole thing. I could also calculate that by looking at it as 10 times 10 divided by 2, which is how you calculate the area for a triangle. All right, so that's my areas, and to find the total area, I would just add all those up. And that's kind of what we're looking for in this extra space here. You don't have to fill the whole space with shapes. So I can show like this calculation here for the quarter circle. And then I can paste it over here on that side. I can also show calculations for the diagonal or curved edges. So the vertical and horizontal ones are pretty easy to just look at and calculate. For example, this space right here is 10. And I can even rotate this around 90 degrees if I wanted to. And I can copy and paste that because I have another 10 here. And I have another 10 here. All right, then let's start seeing what the other things are. It looks like we have a 5 up here. And we have a 5 down here. And then we have to see what's left. I have a curved edge and a diagonal edge to get this perimeter. And this perimeter would help me find like the amount of floor trim or baseboards that I would need to get to go all the way around. Okay, so these curved edge and diagonal edge are the ones that I have left. For the curved edge, we're going to look for the perimeter of a circle instead of the area. And the perimeter is 2 pi times the radius. And in this case, the radius was 5, just like before. And that's 31.42. However, it's 31.42 divided by 4, because again, we're looking at a quarter circle, so only a quarter of the area. And that's 7.855. So I'll put that in there too for my quarter circle. And then for the diagonal edge, I'm going to do a Pythagorean theorem calculator. And the two horizontal and vertical edges are each 10 by 10 on my grid. So that means that that horizontal or that diagonal line is going to be 14.14. So I'll copy that, and I'll put a text box in here, and that's going to be 14.14 right there. So now I have all my edges. I'm going to do one more copy paste, and for this diagonal edge we'll put in that that's the 7.855. So I have all those things going on, and now that I have all these measures, and if it's too hard to read them, we can dress them up a little bit by giving them a background, just like any other shape. A text box is a shape, so you can paint the background. And if I paint the background white, now I can have them outlined a little more clean. All right, so we have all these numbers. Then if we wanted to find the totals, we got to total them all up. And then after we total them all up, you have to do a cost calculation in your spreadsheet tool. So the spreadsheet tool, I'll open it here pretty quick, is you choose what material you want and what quantity you want. So I'll add in some things here like the vinyl, the tile, the linoleum, and etc. because they are slightly different. Like each of these for the area space the flooring, vinyl tile, or linoleum, is per square foot. But when you get to the baseboards, you have to buy it in sections of 8 feet or 4 feet. And with each of those, there's a installation cost, but it's going to help you calculate it. Your goal is to just figure out what would that cost be by inputting your values. The spreadsheet tool does a lot of the calculation for you. Then you're going to insert that screenshot here. So let's say that I'm not calculating this actually, but let's say that I had 200 square feet. And if I had 200 square feet and I wanted to do tile, then I would go to my floor plan calculator and I'd put 200 into that. And this is going to give me an approximate cost so far. And then let's say I want a wood baseboard. And let's say I look at this perimeter and it looks like I have 10, 10, 5, 10, 35, 40, and I have about 50 something. But for wood, I have to buy it in groups of 8 feet. So 8 times 6 is 48, so we'll do 8 times 7. We'll do 7 wood baseboards at $15 per unit, because that gives us 56 feet. And there we go. And that would be like the total cost of doing the flooring and the baseboards. And these are approximate costs. In fact, the labor installation would probably be much more than this. But we just wanted to give you an idea of what it looks like when you're putting together plans for a floor plan. So then we copy and paste, or we screenshot this here. And we would insert that into this page. We'll make it a little bit smaller so it fits. And then you got to write a summary answering these questions. What shapes were used in the process of the calculation? What formulas were used to calculate the area and perimeter? How were they used? How can the space be cut into pieces for calculating the area and perimeter? What is the breakdown of your total cost? So you need to put this into words, just describing what your numbers represent and how the cost is put together. So it's just a summary of all those things, but you got to answer these questions to help guide that summary. So this is doable in a reasonable amount of time, but we want quality work. If you do it as fast as I did and with just the amount of work that I did, and maybe you write like 3 or 4 sentences here, that's only at about a level 3 where your meets standard in most of these. I did use at least 3 shape types, but I did not show all my calculations. Most of my calculations are shown. I didn't even include the totals for the area and the perimeter though. So I would probably be sitting here on my sum calculation process included, work not clearly labeled. So it's labeled, but how do we know what these numbers here are? You need to add a word in there or something to label what that is. Does it represent the quarter circle? Does it represent the area, the perimeter of those pieces? All those things. And so if I'm looking at a 4 on the design level, but only a 2 down here, and maybe I only write a few sentences, but I could have added more detail, I'm meeting the standard, but I'm not at a 4. I'm more at a level 3. To be at a level 4, you got to include more screenshot images in your floor plan with the calculations and showing how you come up with them. And you need to make sure you're writing lots of detail answering all those questions. And of course, using all the types of shapes. I did meet the design criteria because I used a curved shape, a diagonal shape, and multiple things going on. This floor plan does not need to fill the whole space. In fact, I'm going to edit this picture so that it has the right side for your work and the left side for your drawing. And that'll be all. Thank you.